In the world of cartoons, anything is possible with
imagination.
And sometimes these characters play baseball. And in this video, we're going to take a look at a few of these characters who played the game and give an opinion on their ability and potential. The first character we're going to look at is in the Hall of Fame. Well, actually the Baseball Reliquary's Shrine of the Eternals, which is dedicated to both human and non-human baseball players who alter the baseball world in a way that isn't based on stats. He joins the likes of Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson in the shrine. So in terms of getting elected by a committee of baseball writers, Charlie Brown is ahead of Barry Bonds. But in terms of what he showcased in comic strips and in cartoons, I don't think the totally legal supplements Bonds was taking in the 90s could help him. The Peanuts comic strip created by Charles Schulz began appearing in 1950, and from that time until the final comic strip in 2000, there were 1,800 strips related to baseball. And what is known is that Charlie Brown both managed and played on a baseball team consisting of other Peanuts characters such as Lucy, Snoopy, Linus, Pigpen, and Martin Maldonado. And while the origins of this team aren't known, what is known is that the team is absolute garbage. Charlie Brown is the manager of this team, and though he has a lot of knowledge about baseball, there's only so much you can do when you have players like Lucy who can't make a catch, an actual dog at shortstop, a catcher who can't throw, and an analytics team that doesn't acknowledge opponent hard hit percentage on launch angles above 10. For a quick overview of this hopeless team, they once lost a game 600-0. Despite being referred to as winless, there are 12 instances where the team won, but a lot of these are the result of the other team forfeiting, and in 10 of these wins, Charlie Brown is absent, for a variety of reasons such as sickness, elbow fatigue, and girl problems. So therein lies the problem for Charlie Brown, as though he doesn't have much help, he is part of the problem. As demonstrated in the cartoons, he gets rocked every time he takes the mound. And I mean that literally, because he loses his clothes because of how hard these rockets are hit off him. But it's kinda surprising because if we clock his time from when the ball left his hand to when it supposedly crossed the plate, it's about 0.6 seconds, which is equivalent to 68 miles per hour. And for a 9-year-old, that's pretty fast. So maybe the teams they are facing are just really good, even though we never see their faces or their birth certificates. But if you know anything about Charlie Brown, he has the worst luck, so it makes sense that his team wins when he's not there. But in a moment reminiscent of Bartolo Colon's home run, he did actually hit a game-winning home run in a comic strip in 1993, so he'll always have that. But if I was a scout, I would say that this kid tries hard, but nothing goes his way, so it's probably best to avoid him as a player, and maybe hire him as a bat boy, but then again, that's a massive risk.
Down like a cloud, Charlie Brown.
Next up is another classic character, and that's Bugs Bunny. Bugs has appeared as a hero in different sports, but in baseball, he most notably made his debut and his mark in the 1946 short entitled Baseball Bugs. In that short from the year 1946, we see a game being played at the Polo Grounds between the Gas House Gorillas and the Tea Toddlers. The Gas House Gorillas are absolutely destroying the Tea Toddlers, made up of mostly elderly men, very reminiscent of Charlie Brown's team. And after the Gorillas go up by 95, Bugs appears out of center field as most do, and starts trash-talking the Gorillas, and even says he can beat them by himself, to which the Gorillas accept the challenge. To start, we see Bugs on the mound, and though he clearly balks, he winds all the way up and launches one to his catcher, who is also him. It takes a while for the ball to get there, but when it does, it launches Bugs to the backstop, and naturally, the Gorillas can't catch up. And then to really fool them, he throws his patented slow ball.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
And on one single pitch, he struck out the side. On all counts, the single pitch record. And a pitch that became so famous that incredible changeups thrown in the non-cartoon world, such as those thrown by one of Bugs' students, Pedro Martinez, are often referred to as Bugs Bunny changeups. Then after striking out the side, he went up to the plate and made solid contact. And to get around the gorilla shenanigans, he countered with his own shenanigans by exposing their weaknesses, then using reverse psychology when a gorilla became an umpire.
Safe! Out! Safe! Out! Safe! Out! I say you're safe! If you don't like it, you can go to the showers.
Okay then, Doc. Have it your way. I'm safe.
Then he proceeded to hit scorching liners that basically killed his opponents. And he even started playing some human pin baseball, and the end result was Bugs coming back from a 95-run deficit. But the Gorillas had another chance. The batter went up with a tree on his shoulder, and Bugs had no choice but to bring out the
powerful, paralyzing, perfect pectodermis percussion pitch.
but the gorilla batter hit a towering shot that left the polo grounds. So naturally, Bugs hauled a cab, but when it turned out that the cab driver was one of the gorillas, he hopped on a bus, then noticed the ball was still in the air. He got off the bus, then went on top of the Empire State Building and made the catch for the final out as told by the Statue of Liberty.
That's what the man said. You heard what he said. He said that.
So it doesn't take a baseball genius to realize that Bugs is as elite as they come. A simple scouting report would say that if you want a player who can back up their trash talk and also defy the laws of physics, then sign Daniel Vogelbach. But Bugs Bunny is also a good choice. Next, we move to another cartoon character in the Hall of Fame, and that's Homer Simpson, who actually got a plaque made for him. We really only see Homer play as a softball player, and most notably in the episode Homer at the Bat, where he is the best hitter on the team, thanks in part to his Wonder Bat, and he leads the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant to the championship against the Shelbyville Nuclear Power Plant softball team. But after Mr. Burns made a $1 million wager that Springfield would win, he recruits some major league stars, ranging from Roger Clemens to Ken Griffey Jr. to replace him. But every single player he recruited except Don Mattingly and Darryl Strawberry deals with an issue that keeps them from playing in the game, such as Ken Griffey Jr., who developed gigantism after consuming the nerve tonic that Mr. Burns wanted him to drink. Despite having to use the original team for the championship, Homer is benched in favor of Darryl Strawberry to the dismay of Homer's family, who, if you didn't know, are known as the Simpsons. But when things went to the ninth, the game was tied, and the bases were loaded, and Mr. Burns decided to trust the analytics and brought in Homer to pinch hit for Darryl Strawberry. Homer looks to Mr. Burns to try and decipher the advanced signals, but while he didn't hear a trash can bang, he did hear a ball bang off his head that knocked him unconscious. But that brought in the winning run, and brought the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant softball team's championship win probability up to 100% to match Homer's on-base percentage, as he was carried off the field as a hero. So when looking at Homer as a player, a knock on him is that his numbers and ability clearly go down without his Wonder Bat, but regardless, he clearly has some power, and in both stature and clutch ability, he matches David Ortiz. I wouldn't want him on a baseball team, but Homer is your stereotypical slow-pitch softball player, and would excel there. Next, we have an interesting case with Stan Marsh, and the reason it's interesting is because we have a player on a team who is actively trying to lose. If you haven't seen the episode, Stan and everyone on the team hates playing baseball, and are excited when the season comes to an end, but then they are downright depressed when they find out that because they finished first in the division, they qualify for the state playoffs. They plan to lose this game on purpose without upsetting their parents, but then they find out that every team they're playing also wants to lose on purpose, and have actively been practicing to get better at losing. The Cows, as they are called, could not stop winning, as they sucked at losing, and went all the way to the state finals at Coors Field, where a team that is good at losing also plays. But if they win this game, they have to play on the national circuit all summer, so they enlist Kyle's cousin, Kyle, to play for them. But that doesn't help, as they were bound to win the championship. But then, heroically, Randy Marsh fights Bat Dad, and disqualifies the Cows from winning, solidifying himself as an American hero. But going back to the beginning, I focus on their main pitcher, Stan Marsh, but when they were supposedly trying to win, looked like he had some potential. Clocking the time from when the ball left his hand to when it crossed the plate, it was 0.94 seconds, which is about 43 miles per hour. But regardless, you have to consider that in order for them to qualify for the playoffs, they had to finish first, which means they were probably pretty good, especially for a team so unenthusiastic. Stan seemed to have great location and has a good record, even if he was trying to lose, so maybe with effort, he could have become the next Kyle Hendricks. So Stan Marsh goes down as someone with great potential, but a bad attitude. And the final character we will look at is Chris Griffin. Throughout the show, Chris appears as far from athletic, but since nothing makes sense in the show, he discovers that he has an incredible arm developed by years of using a shake weight. The high school baseball coach notices his potential when he hits his car with a rotten apple and has him join the team. And it works out well, as Chris turns out to be an ace that helps the team and makes his father money on the wagers he takes. His arm carries the team to the district championship, which worries Peter in that others may discover Chris's talent. So as any great father does, he tried to get his son to lose by getting him to drink, but Lois orders this to stop. So misinterpreting Peter's admission, Quagmire Joe and Cleveland wear disguises and break Chris's arm. But no worry, Chris had been using the shake weight with his left arm and decides to switch hands for the championship. But then, he set a state record for walks and knocked out his coach with a pitch as Peter and the guys won their bets. And once again using the clock, the ball crossed the plate in .51 seconds, meaning Chris threw in the low 80s as a 15-year-old. And considering Chris clearly hadn't been trying, he clearly has a lot of room for development, and with work, could become the next Lance Lynn. So overall, aside from bugs and his supernatural talent, Chris was the most talented here, and I would rate his talent as a 7, but his off-field issues are rated XXX. So after looking at a few cartoon baseball players, some of their creators decided to give them incredible powers, while some decided to torture them. But ultimately, they all have their strengths and room to improve. And before you know it, any of these cartoon characters could join the likes of Homer Simpson with a few different animations.
I thought this was America! Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America!